What's going on, lads and lasses, or welcome back to the channel. So Newcastle United take on Liverpool at St James's Park for our first home game of the Premier League season, and of course we are welcoming the reigning Premier League champions from last season into, of course, St James's Park, which is going to be an absolute cauldron of noise on Monday night with all of the stuff that's been going on with Alexander Isak in that transfer situation. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff, so it's under the lights at St James's Park, so you know it's going to be magical, and it is live on Sky Sports, and it's a sellout crowd as well. Let's get into this preview. So the key talking points for us Newcastle United fans going into this is our history against Liverpool. This is a game that spans back decades. It's a game where Newcastle has always been battling with Liverpool. Liverpool's always been battling with us. And looking back on the history of it, there's been some crazy matches over the time. Everybody remembers that match, of course, back in the 90s when Stan Collymore scored for, of course, Liverpool, and what it did for our chances, of course, of winning the Premier League back then. But a lot has changed since the 90s. Newcastle are under a new ownership now. We have the Saudis, and the last time we played Liverpool, we walked them off the park at Wembley in the League Cup final. We beat them in 90 minutes, and we won our first piece of silverware in 70 years domestically, 56 years since we'd last won a piece of silverware, which was the Intercities Fairs Cup in 1969. And now we are playing that team once again. We are playing Liverpool, who were beating the final at Wembley back in March, of course. And it's all hopefully going to happen again. Newcastle beating Liverpool at St James's Park this time. And we're hoping for, our first back-to-back win against them since 1995. We haven't beaten them in the Premier League since 2015, of course, when we won 2-0. A skirt long goal and a Gini Wijnaldum goal from our side, who ended up eventually joining Liverpool. But since that, there's been 17 games without a victory, 12 defeats and 5 draws in the Premier League since we last picked up that win against them in 2015. And last season at St James's Park, it ended in a 3-3 absolute thriller with goals from Isak, Gordon and Shaw. And of course, there's that name again, Alexander Isak. That's a name that's going to be probably mentioned a lot on Monday. So, be ready with your plugs, because Sky are going to be talking about that guy a lot during the broadcast. But it's our job as Newcastle United fans to filter out that noise and cheer on the lads and get that atmosphere going in St James's Park like we know we can. The form and fitness going into this, of course, we started with first game of the season down at Villa Park. We got a 0-0 draw against them with no new injury concerns on that side of the news forward. Joe Willock is back in training as well after some calf issues, so that's a welcome boost forward. And then of course we've got the new signings of Malik Chow, or Mali Chow as I like to call him, Aram, of course, which is Aaron Ramsdale, Park, which is of course Park Seong-soo, who were all on the bench at Villa Park, and of course the new signing of Jacob Ramsey, who has since joined the club from Aston Villa. So maybe we'll see, one of them lads getting a run out in this game against Liverpool. That would be absolutely huge. I'd love to see Park do some stuff, especially after what we've seen him do over in Asia when we were playing over there, of course, in the pre-season game. And Jacob Ramsey looks like a really good player as well, so hopefully we'll get to see a little bit of him as well, and Mali Chow in there as well. Looking at the Liverpool side of things, the kickoff for their title defence was, of course, a 4-2 win over Bournemouth. But I've got to say, I watched that match and Liverpool looked very susceptible at the back. You've got Jeremy Frimpong, who's not going to be available for this game, by the way. You've got Jeremy Frimpong bombing up the field. You've got Kirkes bombing up the field. And then it's just even, Kanat and Van Dijk at the back on their own to defend against a whole attack. That is a very susceptible defence, especially if you look at a team like ourselves where we're very quick on the counter, we're high pressing. So that is going to be, our bread and butter in this game. If Liverpool play the exact same way as they did against Bournemouth, then that's going to be our bread and butter in this game. That's going to be our chance to, push hard on them and get that early goal and then, get right down their throats immediately. That's the whole game plan. If I was the manager, that's what I'd be doing. And I'm sure that's probably what Eddie's going to be doing, getting straight down the throat of Liverpool, getting in, hitting them on the counter fast, because Liverpool are susceptible to that. The defence is absolutely disgusting. And like I say, Jeremy Frimpong, according to the news, isn't going to be available for the game. So there's one player off of the team already. And if they play Endo in that position, I mean, Liverpool brought him on in that game against Bournemouth and he was absolutely dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. The way, he was defending was just pathetic. So if they decide to go with him in that role instead, to replace Frimpong, then we are absolutely going to be licking our lips at this one, because he was absolutely dreadful, Endo in the defence there, and then they had to take him off and they brought another player on. Connor Bradley is a doubt as well, according to news, so it may be that they will have to probably go with Endo, and I'm really looking forward to this match. If that is the case, I'm really looking forward to the match anyway, even if it isn't the case, because of what I've seen when they played Bournemouth. I just knew immediately that the way their defence is, we can capitalise on that. We can open that up like a tin of sardines. We can just go straight in at them. And yes, Liverpool's going to be good on the attack. They've got some really good attackers. They've got Florian Wirtz. They've got Mo Salah. They've got really good attackers. But if we, hold with composure at the back, hit them on the counter, we're going to be, getting a lot from that game on Monday night. And the referee, however, and the VAR is a little bit of a questionable one, being that it is, again, a Scouse and Manchester contingent. The ref for the game is Simon Hooper. It's his first Premier League game at St James's Park since the 4-1 win over Chelsea in 2023. And on VAR, I don't know how they do it. I really don't. But they keep getting away with it. It is John Brooks, a Scouser, on VAR for the game against Liverpool. I mean, this is just getting really beyond a joke now. And I don't know how they're, allowed to continue to do this. Something has to be done about it eventually. You never see Michael Oliver on a competitive game for us Newcastle United fans, so why put Scousers on or Mancs on to, Scouse games or Manc games? It's just not on. It really isn't. So it's a huge early test for us. And if Eddie can get it right, we can finally break that Liverpool curse at St James's Park that we haven't won against them since 2015 in the Premier League. And it could set a huge tone for the season moving forward. This win could be a huge pivotal point to, of course, push us forward. We could gain some massive momentum off of this. I mean, looking at the games that we've got after these, we've got Leeds United next, which is an away game at Ellen Road. Then we've got Wolves at St James's. Then we've got, Bournemouth down at the Vitality. Then we've got Arsenal. So we've got 3 games there of Leeds, Wolves and Bournemouth. One of them at home, 2 of them away. That are games that you would expect us to do really well in. So if we can get the result against Liverpool on Monday night in front of the Sky cameras under the lights at St James's Park with an absolute cauldron of noise that's going to be there, I'm expecting a huge, massive flag display as well from more flags, because it is the first game of the season. It's home back. So, and then with everything that's been going on with the Isak situation as well, with the Scousers, I am really looking forward to seeing what we do with this game. And like I say, if they're very susceptible at the back like they were against Bournemouth, we're going to be, eating out on this game all night long. if we keep hitting them on the counter. But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let us know your score predictions down in the comments below as well. Any Liverpool fans that are watching, what is your thoughts on the game on Monday night at St James's Park? Are you scared for it? Are you up for it? Let us know your feelings down in the comments below. And I'll see you all for the next one. However, lads.